Well, good evening everyone. Welcome back to another stream to be Overthunk by Sharky. Coming in right as the music gets particularly loud, it seems. We've just hit the high point in the Minecraft background music, and with that we are back for what can only be described as the second week in a row. Something that's become increasingly rare these days. Good evening, Tooth. Thank you for joining in the chat again with us tonight. Let's pop back in to the current state of the build and see how much more profound progress we can make tonight. We got so much done last week. So much done, in fact, that we started doing things I hadn't even scripted for us to do. We just started doing all sorts of things. So let's bring the overlay back up. There we go. So the theory is, if we stick with the current theory, the theory is that we are marking out grassy areas and then getting distracted by mapping out some commercial areas as well. So just a bit of an overview of what we've got. North is sort of heading in that direction as we head up south to north through this residential district. We've got don't worry about the water, that's not actually water, that's just our landing point from the cloud. We've got grassy areas here. Some of this is full of trees, some of this is actually just grassy fields. I thought about putting actual trees in here and stuff like that, but the scale of this would be really off. It would be hard to do it properly, so I'm not sure. Maybe I can cheat with long grass or something instead of trees, but something to just indicate, for example, that all of this section along here, that's all a line of trees, and so that is also a huge chunk of trees, but bits here are obviously fields, and bits here are just gaps in between houses and stuff where there's just vacant land and no development, and little bits down here. So I don't know, maybe I'll think about long grass or something like that, some way to kind of show that it's not just empty. But yeah, so we're starting to fill out bits like that. We've got obviously main roads, we've got laneways and things like that. I was looking at this before and sort of thinking about how, not there's much I can do about it, but how dark the laneways are and stuff. It's sort of on the thumbnail view. When I was looking at the thumbnail for this on YouTube before, you can't really distinguish, at least at this resolution, you can't really distinguish very well between the color texture of the road and the laneways. They're both very much at the same end of the palette. So it just looked like the road network was twice as dense as it really was, but I'm not sure that there's much I can do about that, because I fancied the idea of using the path blocks like this, the tilled path, what is it called? Dirt path, you know what I mean. Right click a shovel on the dirt, on the grass, make it dirt path. I kind of liked that effect as a laneway effect. I think if we just use a dirt block, the texture would be all wrong. It'd be way too busy, stuff like that. So I'm not going to change it. I'm just drawing attention to it. We had the street lights, lamp posts along certain sort of main arterials and things like that, and then just not down other miscellaneous directions and things like that. And I'm relatively satisfied with that as an arrangement. I don't want to necessarily go putting a bunch more street lights down other roads and things like that. It gets a little bit messy. We did have some issues that we had to throw some extra ones down at the last minute here last time, because it's just so dark around here. So I think some of that is going to get solved, and you can see it's dark in the water here. Some of that's going to get solved when we actually trim this to land. This weird jagged edge here of greenery, that's actually going to get trimmed when this is all done. I'm going to cut that to exactly that edge, so that just like Australia has the lumpy bumpy fractal border, this will have a zigzaggedy border around it and stuff too, that will also sort of indicate the scope of the map and its resolution. So some of these darker bits over here are going to just be in the water. Maybe not here, we might have to sort that out. But Will lights underwater solve the shadowy water without being obvious? It may well, in fact. Good call, Katooth. If we go down here and we put in a sea lantern, for example, that like is massive illumination because that's from the underwater temples. It does stand out a little bit. You can, like, if you're looking for it, you can totally see it in the water. And it might need to be a tad bit closer because it's still kind of dark in front of it. But that definitely works. If I put a block above it, I could obscure it, but I suspect it wouldn't do the same sort of job then. Like if I do that, it's now lighting out. Oh no, it actually might work. It's now lighting out. Oh no, I can start to see the diagonal stripes. Yeah. So it's lighting in like the 4 directions. It's not lighting as much diagonally. But that does sort of work. Like, yeah. Thank you for the pun, Katooth. I can see the lantern. I wonder. So obviously, like, a strategy would be to put it under here, you know. That's the 4 for that. Like, it's on the edge. Oh no, it does not reach anywhere near far enough. And if anything, it makes that even more prominent now by how much it, like, fixes it. Let me put these back on the top again. Like that. Oh wow, it's getting nighttime, and so now we're going to have the opposite problem. Do straight lights work underwater? They would. They absolutely would. But can you see the opposite problem that we're soon going to be faced with at nighttime? We're going to have excuse me for coughing into the microphone there. We're going to have our street lights lighting up parts of the town and other parts of the town in darkness, as intended. You know, I was happily accepting that. But we're now going to have the exact opposite effect, where we're going to have some bright spots in the ocean. And really, I'm not sure I'm prepared for that as a trade-off, because we've actually got a fairly reasonable nighttime aesthetic. Yeah, I'll just have to light the whole ocean to make it look the same. You're right. You're right. Honestly, I could just copy-paste a grid of these through the ocean, and that would actually light things up. But let's do a comparison since we're talking about streetlights. I mean, half of the nature of builds and things is that this is all experimental. So, oh, okay. Apparently not. Water breaks end rods. Did not know that. All right. Well, the unfortunate answer is no. We can't put that underwater without doing sneaky things like making a little dry cavern for it and putting it inside, in which case it's almost pointless. Yeah, they're helium lights. They are, aren't they? So if I just get rid of these guys for now. Yeah, like, that just shows that up no end. You know, like at night time, it's not really as much of an issue. I mean, sure, there are bits there that are darker than those bits, but yeah, it's tricky because it just depends on like what the observer's actually looking at. Because really, you're going to land in this pool. You're not going to see this one from the air as much. You're going to land in this pool after that short fall, and you're going to be here at ground level for most of this. And sure, you can get up and fly. I mean, creative mode, anyone can get up and fly around. So, you know, it's I'm on the fence about it, honestly, on the fence. So we will. Oh wow, look at this inventory. We will see where we end up with things. Let's clear some of this out, because we definitely do not need anywhere near all of this stuff on us. That one, and that one, and that one. Set the phone back up because it's sliding down for some reason. There we go. We'll teeter it on there. If we hear a bang, it's because it's fallen over. Alrighty, so let me pull up my map again so I can actually see what I'm looking at. Alright, so in terms of like other grassy and or other commercial bits and stuff like that, I'm not sure how much more commercial stuff there is, but as for grassy stuff, there's definitely more that could be done. Like this was all evident. There is like just straight up like an oval area here, so this whole thing is just, that's why there's no laneway here, because that's a field. Oh, getting a bit clicky, and look, let's move the day along a bit. There we go. Alright, so that's just a straight up field there. Whoa, that's the phone sliding. Didn't make a bang, but it did. It did fully slide down. Ah, this is annoying. What am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to like prop this up with something. I need the phone because without that I can't see chat, because I got my map and everything else full screen in front of the chat window. I need like a heavy object to sit in front of it. Let's take a sip of water while we think. Oh, apparently not. Apparently we've got a... Alright, one problem at a time. Fix the water. Have a sip. Alright, now look for something to fix the phone. What have we got? What heavy objects are on the desk here? That's not exactly heavy. That could do. That could do indeed. Alright. Let me stick it there in front of the phone. Okay. We'll see how that goes. Alright. Now that's sorted. Grassy areas. So there is a field up here. And I will put that there, and I will get a bit of fence. Pretty sure this one here is not fenced. In fact, this one here is actually undergoing construction at the moment. So technically it is fenced, but it's fenced by like construction fencing, not actual park fence. This one, on the other hand, does have a fencey bit. So we'll just do it like here. It does not reach all the way across though. Probably about that far. And then, with a bit of creativity, probably from there up. Let me check the actual map. Yep, so All along there. I mean, realistically, it's fill command, isn't it? Fill, there. Up to here. With grass, right. That's better. And we've got houses along this bit of this street, so we've got to allow that to continue there. And it turns out, and I'm just missing some things here somehow. So whereabouts do we do this? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. No, if anything, it should be back one more. Like that. And then so that reaches down. Excuse me, yeah. That reaches down to there, yeah. In line with that. But then there's a little bit more that reaches down, and yes, it only goes part way into that field there before it tapers off. Alright, so everything in there is grass. So is everything out here, obviously. And this is just like, just opens out into grass. Effectively from here on. There's nothing on this side. Whoa. Rain. Only slightly unrealistic. Oh, thunderstorm. Why is it always thunder when it rains? So intense. What's going on? Don't you lightning strike any of my villages or anything? I need them. And I do know I have a lot of lightning rods around the town. That's completely unrelated. So yeah, this can just be grass all the way up. Alright. To, you know, the edge of the map, as it were. That's just all grass up there. So let's fill this. Fill from there through to there. With grass. Great. That's good. So all the rest of that's houses. Continuing this up around here. allegedly that continues up there. I don't know if I trust that. Let me get a street view going. I don't know if I trust that. Oh, it's a dirt road. Ah, it does keep going. It keeps going as a dirt road. So often I check out this part of town. It did keep going. And it just keeps going indefinitely. Like it's just going to keep going off the edge of the map. Whoops. Whoop, whoop. So that continues up to there. And like, how far are we letting this run? Like all the way up to there. So we're going to have to let this whole thing up here. Grass as well. So everywhere from here all the way back down to here. Okay, so that's just all grass. Now in this interior section here, still grass here around the back of this dirt trail. Street view time again. What is the... No, not that. What is the story here? Wait, these don't connect? They don't connect? Alright, let me let me quickly drive around these streets. I thought that they were connected. Are they not? I've got the opposite problem now. I had roads that I thought stopped, and it turns out they kept going as a dirt path. And I've got roads that I thought connected, and apparently they just don't. Not even with a dirt path. They just actually stop. So that just goes to a dead end. And this one comes up here looking like it's about to connect. And it just doesn't. I can see the other road from here. And there are just trees in between them. Huh. So weird how even on the map it looks like it should connect. So, what have we learnt then? That is definitely road. That is definitely dirt. But that's not a connection. That stops. Like that. And there are no houses on that side until we round that bend. Okay. And maybe that should do that just to make it feel more appropriate. Okay, so that's the scope of the limited housing there, and then all the rest, that's the green area. While we're thinking about what's up the top here, because we could do all this bottom bit in a sec, let's excuse me for bumping the mic there. Let's have a little look around here. So what are we actually looking like? That is just tree line all the way across there, right up until there. So we'll leave that as not trees. Literally from there to there, that's tree line. So from there through to there. Yep. That's just solid. Then we hit a little bit of industrial here. Map loading. Hello, map. Map loading. That's not helpful. Come on, map. Oh, that's better. Alright. Yeah, that stays industrial all the way along there. There's like tiny bit of greenery here. So from about that street, from along here, so from, let me get my perspective right, from about here, maybe one before, in fact. That sort of thing. Now, in fact, actually, these run 3 blocks up from this double thick road here. So really, that should be... I can do that bit by hand. That's fine. He says, and proceeds to do 2 wrong in a row. Oh, that's fine. So that's all stuff along there. Okay, great. So that's got all that boundary done and ready for trimming. Let's take a moment to think about large scale greenery or anything in this bit here. There's another bit of road there that I'm missing. You know, there's a lot of little roads. Really, when you stop and look at it, there are a lot of little roads. I feel like I'm just going to ignore some of them, because then otherwise I have to work out what goes on there. Alright, any other large scale green areas? Obviously there's the park there. Okay, let's check out what's happening here. Because this does keep going a smidge. Like that. And we can keep... we can bring this grass down. Oops. Floating end rod. So this has got houses along this side. Whoops. Let's add a bit of time on. Don't need to be this dark. There we go. There are also houses around this bend here. And houses here. Not really on this side here. So we can do that. Alright. And then like this is just greenery all down this side. There's no houses on this side of this street. Yep, that just runs indefinitely now. Yeah, I have to start making some creative decisions here. Because that road does actually connect into stuff over here, but this is the next suburb over here, and I don't want that in the build. So I think I'm going to trim this far earlier. Like, you know, somewhere over here where there's like a diagonal line makes sense. You know, somewhere over there that's gonna catch up. So we've at least got like that on this side, and that's all grass in here with the most awkward to fill area because it's not square. It's probably composed of squares, but it's mostly triangle. So whoa, that was especially bad. Can't go doing that too often, we'll hit bedrock. There's a little square, but it's little enough. We can do it by hand, and the rain has stopped. And the music starts. Oh, lovely. Okay, that's starting to come together. So, now it's just this awkward section here. What am I going to do about this? So, let's go over to the map. Ah, dear, excuse me. So, there are things here, but they do stop. Whereabouts? Ooh, what's that noise? It's the noise of someone eating grass. No, it's not. It's the noise of someone putting bread or wheat or something into their thing. Stops in line with this. So there's effectively a grass corridor here. There is stuff around there, so I'll have to leave that as is. And it does continue out to there. Where there are things around this edge here, but not at the end. Move the map. There's nothing at the edge here. In fact, this side of the street actually has nothing till like about that point. And that's all residential in there. Quick pop over to the map again. start putting pins in the map. Yep, that's nothing there as well. So how do we represent that? Yeah, so that's here. Like that. Yeah. That does the job. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. That's that corridor of greenery through there. So we've got stuff on each of those sides of the road. Excuse me. Yep, I'll buy that. That makes sense. Then over here... Yes, over here. This does have a bit of stuff that reaches down here, awkwardly. And goes across a bit there, but then there's stuff here again. And there's nothing here. Let's put it to the next day. Just so that we can work in the light. So, yep, nothing here. Whoop. I just tried to hit undo then. That's a good one. So all the rest of that is grass. So I can diagonal that across to there. Alright, that's all grass there. So let me just like fracture this then to remind me. But this bit here, so what's my transition? Let me check down here again. So we've got greenery that tucks around there. Oh, wrong way. So the greenery tucks around behind you, and, excuse you, and effectively stays out to this distance to meet up with that. So that's there. In fact, I'm going to bring that in one earlier. That's massive. Alright. And yeah. That's just green diagonally all the way over there as well. So we've got a bit of a line we can start to take. And from where we are here, yeah, this is just green. So I can sort of match a bit of what's going on here. Like it's all lumpy and stuff on that side. Like it comes up and then curls out. It'd be nicer if I just gave it a bit more there. Just so I had a bit more. Like we'll just do a bit of fictional stuff like that. That way I could like come across a bit more. that kind of thing. At that point, I may as well just do that. And if I was going to do that, I would do that equally on this side. So the question is, could I keep that line going all the way up there? Would cut awful neat against that. What if we meet in the middle? Because I'm thinking I could just make a nice like V sort of shape with a flat bottom here, and that wouldn't be so bad. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. That way it wouldn't be such an irregular, you know, weird sort of kite-shaped shape. Come on. Whoop. Okay, so that's now officially caught up to there. Which does mean I'd be doing that. So I'd be shaving that all the way along there. Yeah, I could live with that. That's fine. That's not that dangerously close. That's fine. Okay. I like that. So now we just place that as though that's in the center. And we keep that going. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we start the diagonal from there. Alright, so from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's fine, because this is all just basically greenery here, but at risk of touching the next suburb. So I think we can just carefully pretend the next suburb is not there. Look at that, look how close that was. You know, I mean, I'll do that through like that. And then we just come along there. Right. So all that needs to, and again, it's the most annoying diagonal section, but all of that needs to be filled with grass, and then we've got our trimmed edge. Like it almost even lines up, like that. This one reaches up a tiny bit higher than that one, but yeah, look at that. That's going to be a nice shield sort of shape. Is there... I don't know if there's any good way of doing this with a fill command, because of how annoying all these diagonal bits are. Ah, not again. Like, I can fill over grass I've already done, that's fine. But because of this weird bit here, I might be able to do something once I get out into the open up here. Now cut off a little triangle like that, and do a bit of a fill here, but you know. So I could fill. If I cut off that triangle there, do a little bit of an upper and lower triangle, now I can fill this bit. You know, that's about as best as we could hope for. Fill there to there. Yeah, add a bit of time back on. Alright. Same sort of thing here. I could do a little manual bit here. And then I can do a fill. But the more I can trim off the edge, the better I can do in the middle bit here. So like, and I would have to do this up to there. So again, I can fill this whole section here. Okay, getting there. Katu's got something. Just extend the top left grass for symmetry. Fill first, then come back for little missing triangles. Yeah, I can see a kind of Sierpinski sort of thing happening. Like do a big fill square in the middle, and then like little square and a little square, and then little square, little square. Like there'll come a point where the little squares will get resolved into just doing it by hand. So you're absolutely right. Like there is a way to just do this, and like if I just start here and just go fill there all the way up to here. Oops. Alright, that just does that middle bit there. And then, yeah. Do the rest of that by hand or by fill command. You know, I could totally take this out with the fill command, but in the time it's taken me to say that, I've basically done it. There we go. Same with this bit. Might as well just do it. The bit that's going to be a real pain is trimming this for the water. Because I want to do like a water fill command in here. I need to do the opposite triangles on the other side. That's going to be annoying, but it's got to happen. Let me do some end rod business here. Can I put those on that corner there? Definitely looks a little bit weird. Like that. Because that's not going to exist. And this one that's out in the middle of nowhere, you know, you're going to have a dark patch here. But that's not because of the sky island, I think. That's just because it's just dark there. Okay, that might be all the green area done. It might be all the green area done. So, to finish off the rest of the objective then, we just need to be thinking about any other commercial bits. So, or other things, because I've got like this feature over here, and that is not commercial, and well, it's commercial, it's not a shop. We've got that over there. Let's have a quick just browse around the map of the town. What does the town even have? So obviously there's a bunch of stuff along here. Ooh, I wonder. Okay, well this is going to take a little bit of googling in the background, which will be boring for you guys. But what are the different villager professions? Because I mean, we're doing all of those as just the farmers because of what they are. So let's see. We've got so we got the unemployed, the nitwit, the armorer. Is there any equivalent for an armorer? Ooh. Butcher. Now that could have been interesting. We could have put an actual butcher in somewhere. Cartographer, cleric. Yeah, right. So farmer, we've got a bunch of them. Fisherman. Now, see, yeah, I could have been a bit more creative with some of these. Fletcher, leather worker. Do you have any clothes stores? Librarian, stonemason, shepherd, toolsmith, weaponsmith. Okay, well let me at least examine fisherman, because that's a possibility. Oh, we've got more peeps already. Let's give that a ban. Outgoing cattle mank. Something. Alright. And cue the music. So, what am I saying? Fisherman, which means barrel. So, you could be a fisherman. Oh, but see, the problem is you're standing in your blocks. Ah, of course. Of course. So, if we were going to do something else, it couldn't be like this. So, for example, if we were talking, let's say, librarian, which is literally on the other side here. How would we do that? Because we would need the lectern to make you the librarian, but then we would need you to not leave. And what are these? This is our smooth quartz slab. So we would need a way to and you can't put it on like the half blocks, it just floats. That's like defeats the purpose. If we had a librarian in here, we would need something over their head, which means we would need some stairs again. like that. Okay. That's gonna work. We need item frame again. And we need a book. Yeah, just a plain old book will do. There you go. So there's a librarian. So we could do the same with the fisherman. So there's no real need for them to stand in the barrel. The barrel's just fun. Like if I destroy that, you still can't get out. So barrel. Now you're a fisherman. There you go. Alright. Okay. That's a bit more fun. Okay. So, got ourselves a librarian, we've got ourselves a fisherman. Let's have a little look around the rest of the villager list. So, armourer, butcher. Yeah, let's have a look at that. Yep, so there's the butcher. How do we locate that? Butcher is back here. What does butcher need? A smoker. Okay. There's no other way to rotate a smoker. It's always got to be at this plane with this hole at the top. I mean, could have it so that the villager is standing on their own smoker. That would work. There you go. So now you're a butcher. And I mean, we're gonna be reusing things at some point, just because of what we're doing. Like, food and drinks. Well, you don't get the cooked steak at the butcher. You get the raw beef. That'd be what you'd get, right? So that's how we distinguish it. There you go. Okay, right, so that works. What else do we have? So, butcher, cartographer. I don't think there'll be any version of that. Cleric, we can definitely do that. We'll come back to that in a sec. Got farmers, got fishermen. Don't know about Fletcher. Leather worker would be like a clothes shop. Do we have clothes shop? Clothing store? Okay, that could work. But is there room for it? I'm assuming that a villager can stand in their own cauldron. I put a cauldron here. The real question is, how do I signify a clothing store now? Clothes. Top. Ooh, panda. But yes, pants. Yes. Yeah, like actual. So we could do like literally leather tunic. That would work. Armor stand probably wouldn't make sense visually. But, yep, okay. Ooh, armadillo spawn egg. Alright, so that's a clothing store, right? I like that, this is working. Librarian we've done. Stonemason, I don't think we've got a version for that. Shepherd doesn't make sense. Toolsmith and a weaponsmith probably doesn't make sense. Although, he says, although, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. If there's room to do it, that's the real question. Toolsmith, smithing table. It would be your next door neighbour here. So you'd have to have smithing table. So you stand there. Yep, you're now the toolsmith. Good. So you need an item frame for you. Oh. And yeah, some sort of tool. So like shears. How would shears look? That's a tool. Bit weird. I'm gonna say a hoe would actually make sense. An iron hoe. Ah, done it now. Like that. There we go. Iron hoe. Okay. Great, so that's the toolsmith. Oh, holding those in my hot little hands. Yeah, the one I was also thinking of was maybe armorer could also make sense in a weird sort of way. That needs a blast furnace. Where have we got for locations here? Yeah, okay. Excuse me. Ooh, just muted myself there to clear my throat properly. Ah, dear. Yeah, so where's that? Like, that's this here, right? Yeah, because that's there. So around about here. What was it we needed? Blast furnace for the armor. Whoop, I knew that was going to happen. And with that, let's get rid of that next one. I think that one's already restricted in the chat. Yes. Your chat's so quiet, I can hear your viewers snoring. Alright. So, did I say blast furnace? I think I said blast furnace. Blast furnace. We know we're going to need the item frame in a minute. So the blast furnace can go there. Villager can stand there. It's got armor on now. Item frame there. So, the real question is, how do I convey this now? This is a gym. This is my thinking here. Armorer is the closest I can get to, like, you know, weightlifter or bodybuilding or something like that. So, what item could I use to represent that as a gym? As, like, you know, weightlifter or chains? That would be weird. That would be weird. It's there for now. Let's see. Well, here we go. All the many blocks and things. You could use a grindstone. I mean, it wouldn't be obvious what that looks like. Or even an anvil. Also, does the town need a bell? Maybe? Anvil, yes. Cthulhu's saying anvil. Okay, let's put anvil there as a thinker. Oops. Oh, we could do like minecart track for like a treadmill, but that's a bit obscure. I think that's a bit too abstract. Oh, look at all the nice colourful bundles. Fishing rods and things, records, the weapons, the shields. In a meta sense, you could try the Totem of Undying. Maybe the Warhammer. Yeah, that would actually not be a bad idea. Heavy core. Or you could do the trial key again as a sort of meta one. All the eggs, spawners and things. Okay, so let's try the anvil and the mace. Let's get both of them. So, anvil. Anvil's weird because actually it sticks out. Like, it's a bit different to most other things. Mace lays flat. Maybe the mace? Maybe the mace. It might get the job done. Really. It's a tripping hazard like most exercise equipment. That's true. That's true. Okay. You can definitely see where like all the stuff in the town is, and there's like going to be nothing down here. Although, actually, now that I've said that, there was more than one gym in town. Where was the other one at? Down here. Yes. So let's replicate exactly that, but down here now. And this is like accessible from like that side. So in this bit here, I'll actually do it from this way. So we'll put the whatever it is, the blast thing. Was it blast? No, it was. Alright, we're gonna have to check. Yeah, it was blast furnace. Okay. And of course the item frame. Blast furnace. With the item frame. With the mace in the kitchen with Miss Scarlet. Alright. Whoops, and I assume I did that for the other one over there, just so he's standing on proper flooring. I did not. Can I do this? Nope. Oh, it's because I spawned a second villager. I had the wrong thing in my inventory. Oh, let's use the mace. Seeing as though we've got the mace. Nah, sword get a bit of area of effect. Sorry, sir. I didn't mean to spawn a clone for you. I was just trying to take the floor out from under your feet. Because yeah, everyone should be. Apart from these people that are like standing on their own thing, which honestly feels a bit better some of the time. But like you could be standing on your own thing. You're fine, because I like having that sort of extra white around the place, but I think you need to stand on your own thing. Let's see if we can do it this time. Don't get in the way, sir. Yep, it worked. There we go. So we've replaced you by your thing underneath. That's a bit nicer. So everyone else can have their things as is. I feel like putting yours underneath you as well. Maybe. Nah, you're fine. Although you do have dirt under you, so... And of course you've sunk down half a block now. Yes, acquire your job. Thank you. Okay. This is fine. This is working out as good, if not better than intended. So then the only one left now, I believe, is cleric. Which ought to be here, where the pink is. So we're going to have to be careful about this one. Because this one might not make sense. We might have to change it in a sec. But we'll put it down anyway. Let's add a bit of time back on. So, cleric needs brewing stand. Yeah, I'd prefer that not to be visible. If that's at all possible. So... let's see, if we put a brewing stand down, and we're going to need to... because stuff is going to be visible, apparently. Alright, so then we need to... put them in there and put you in there. Can you take your job? Thank you. And then we need the item frame for you. And what do we do then for a church? I know, we do an enchanted book. Does it make sense to do any specific type of enchanted book? Channeling. Density. What's density? Feather falling, efficiency, fire aspect, fire protection. Fire protection might be kind of funny. Infinity might be nice. Let's go infinity unless there's a better one. Multi-shot mending. Yeah, I like the infinity aspect one. So unless there's something incredible here. Respiration, riptide, sharpness, or smite. Alright, infinity it is. There we go. Not that you can tell what the book is once it's in there. You know. But it's the thought that counts. Alright, so let's clear most of this out now. Because and now that I've done that, this should have a bit of context to it, like the others do, really. Really? Okay. Alright, Alright, so that's effectively the town. We've now got our hard edge all the way around. I know there's no grass there. That's because that's actually got industrial then residential in that bit there, so it doesn't need to have that. But yeah, so then it's just, yeah, my other thoughts before we cut it to shape was, yeah, if there was anything I can do, we extend grass on left. Extend grass on left. Where left? Left where? You mean extend this more to make it like match that by symmetry? If I do that, I'll need to think about the roads. Top left. Oh, so you're right. Yeah, extend this to make it by symmetry match the other one, so that we actually have a perfect shape. I could do that, I guess. I could. I'd have to be a bit creative here, maybe. Let's have a look. Time for F3. We haven't had F3 yet. So this furthest point out here is negative 569. So we want to keep this lined up at negative 569. Wow, which is this block here. Really? That's the furthest out grass block. That is not as far as I thought it'd be. At all. I was expecting significantly worse than that. So I can just fake that to there. And that's fine. I'll need to fake this as well. So what's this got to get out to? Well, let's just do a grass fill. Yeah, it's actually this one. It's 569. So the road's got to stop there, and that's got to go out one further. Yep. So if we fill that through to there, then all we've got to do is kind of just pretend upon that for a bit, and we might even just do that. And do the same sort of thing here. This is doing in steps of 3. 1, 2, 3. Like that. You know? Just pretend upon that. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Okay. So, now it should be a symmetric kind of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is a hexagon. It was nearly a pentagon. But it's now got mirror symmetry up the main road, if indeed the main road is the halfway point, which, well, by definition it is, because of how we've set that lake down at the bottom, that little pond. It has to be the center. So yeah, I like that. That does work. Okay. So yep, it would be cut everything out, but in addition to that, it's work out how I indicate trees without actually putting down trees. So natural blocks. We want hanging mossy stuff. Like if I put down a sapling, it will grow. Like that's the problem. I can't just put down saplings and be like, oh look, it's a mini tree. Because given enough time, it will turn into a tree. Oh, but I could do a dark oak sapling. Because it won't grow, because it needs a 2x2 of saplings. Oh, now that could be That could be game changer right there. Because otherwise, it's... Oh, here we go. Short grass, fern, bush. I don't want to put down flowers necessarily. Firefly bush. Tall grass. Large fern. Okay, let me get the large fern. Okay, so just to see the difference between these things, we've got the tall fern and the regular fern. I actually don't mind the tall fern. That does a good job of like tall sort of imposing bushland. You've got short grass, which just is regular Minecraft grass that's completely hidden. Tall grass, that's the 2 blocks high, that does a similar sort of job to these ferns, and in fact is a bit denser. You know, the ferns are good because they look sort of tree-like, but the ferns have got, well, if I do it like that, just like the grass was, they get a bit in rows and you can see through them. I mean, the grass sort of does that too, but the grass at least is a little bit more higgledy-piggledy. Cover for the sheep so they don't get snatched by dragons. Realistically, I don't want any animals here. But the animals are here because there's grass here. Like, that's just a natural spawn condition. So, what else did I have? Bush. Bush is fun for just like little bits of stuff. So I like bush and I like tall grass. So we'll have tall grass, we'll have bush. And the other one was that dark oak sapling. Is that going to do me any good? No, it's way too colourful and cartoony. Should have used green carpet. Ooh. Ooh. Or any other block that's green. Green concrete powder. Green concrete itself. Green wool. You know, green concrete powder still looks like grass. Green wool looks like a... Green wool looks like green wool, if you know what you're looking at. Green concrete powder, on the other hand, because it's got the same texture as dirt, but, you know, I agree that this is too late. Yeah, you can definitely see the wool texture from far away. The green concrete powder is a paler green, more subtle, wouldn't cause creatures to grow. Yeah, we need a replace command. So green concrete powder. So there are other options here. Destroy, hollow, keep, outline, replace, strict. I don't know what these are. Oh wow, this might actually exist. Okay, let's go to Google and check what this command actually does. Let's take a sip of water to congratulate ourselves. Excuse me. And before we do this, let me check the next thing. I can put these on grass because they're grass. Can I put them on concrete powder? I cannot. Okay, that could be the deciding factor. If I can't put this stuff on concrete powder, then there's almost no point putting concrete powder down. How could we solve that? Even if I put like carpet down on the grass, yep, I couldn't put stuff on top of the carpet because this has to go on a grass block. So maybe we don't bother looking that up. I mean, there's probably things I could do to stop passive mobs spawning. Game rule. Yeah, Do fire tick, do immediate, do limited current mob spawning. Do mob spawning. False. Mob spawning is now set to false. Plants can go on dirt, grass, coarse dirt, mud, and sand. Fair. And of those, grass will be the only one that looks any good. Okay, I've just instituted a game rule for no mob spawning. So, let me go and destroy all of these mobs. And then let's just satisfy ourselves that no more spawn. Chicken thought he could get away from me. Ah! Oh, I missed it. Are there any more? Is that all? I was just so surprised because nothing has respawned in its place. Almost as though the command is working as intended. Ah, look at that. Okay, chuck all that away. And then let's get to greenifying some things. Okay, so if that's tall grass, I am going to have some short grass just to flesh it out, because our things are, let's see, come along this street here, coming down here, yeah, it's from here. The things really kick off. So this is probably going to look nuts, but let me just do a little bit of it and then step back and have a look. Like from a height, it's like completely unnoticeable. But once you're down in the thicker things, it cuts your field of view, which I think is exactly what I want, because there is literally nothing to look at over here. And again, we'll do a check to see. Oh, wait. Can accidentally override the short ones with long ones if I'm not careful. So I'll do a bit of this again and then see if it looks absolutely shocking. I don't think it does. Once it's filled out. You can see it a little bit more from a height now. Especially the further away bits, because you've got the angle. And once I've filled the rest of it out, I think this will be fine. This will have the desired effect. Okay, and we just sort of fill all this now to the edge. I could probably do a weird fill command on this, but I'm not sure I want to risk it because I don't really know what that would look like. Plus, there's like, it's all diagonal again, isn't it? So it's sort of... the real dense stuff here. If we wanted to get really fancy, which we don't, but if we did, we could actually mark out like some of the bike trails and things in here by like replacing some of the tall grass with short grass in some patches to indicate that it sort of thins out in certain areas. But if I'm being honest, I've already closed the map, so I'm doing this just as a general understanding and not as an accurate exact thing anymore anyway. So yeah, that looks nice. That's nice and furry over there because that is just straight up push. When we land we can kind of see that. Yep. Alright. Stuck on that thing. It does encroach into the road a little bit here, but I think that's fine. It's you know, it is very dense up to the road. So same thing happens over in this section here. And maybe I'll test a fill command here. I'll leave all that open, and I'll fence that off. Yeah, there's a bit of randomness within the block. That's why this looks better, because it's actually slightly randomly positioned within the span of the block. It's one of these slightly random blocks. Oh, that's awkward. There, and then there. So, I want to fill... Let's use the bushes as markers, because I need to be at this height. So I want to fill from there to there with tall grass. Perfect. That works. Except it's all one block tall. because tall grass is 2 blocks high. So how do I fix that? Does tall grass have 2 parts? Tall grass lower, tall grass half upper. So how do I... Oh, I think I know what I need to have done. I'll put a bush there, and I'll put a bush up the top. Well, I'll put a bush there. So if I fill like that, that might work now. Fill from there up to here with the tall grass. No, apparently not. Try that again. What just happened? Yeah. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, let's have a look at that again, because I like that. And of course it's not doing this bit here. What it's doing is it's breaking the blocks as it's placing them, because it's the ones in the air above it are like not valid blocks because it's not on a solid block, and for some reason it's breaking the ones underneath it. Like, what if I lifted both of these up 1 block to the 54? Yeah, so that's just up in the air now. So if I drop them both down to the 55, that's just the ground, and it's just 1 block tall. That's a pain, so we have to do this manually then. I mean, it's almost okay, because it has the thickness of the lower half of the grass block. It just doesn't reach up high. But I'm going to do it, and let's start by busting it. There we go. And I have to do it all manually. That's okay, it's not that big of a field. And in fact, what am I doing? I can hold down right click. Yeah. We can hold down right click. We're going to leave some gaps, but we can fly overhead and fix it. As long as we try not to leave too many gaps. This is much better. I mean, it's probably going to be a nightmare when I look at this from the air in a sec. But this is saving me having to do a lot of clicking. How much more is there? Oh, we're practically there. Okay. Oh, this is going to be hard to hard to tell where the gaps are. Like, seriously hard to tell. And of course it matters not if there are gaps in here, except I will always know that there are gaps. Oh, that rain stopped. I think that might be fine, maybe. Because bits don't line up perfectly. One gap near the light post. There's a couple of light posts, so I'll check around all of them. Nicely done. Well spotted. Yeah. Okay. Happy enough with that. So, that's all bush there. Keep that going on this side of things here. How's that look? Just adds a different bit of definition to things. Because that's not like massive trees there, it's just a bit bushy. This one, on the other hand, we'll have that. And so I'm just going for a little bit of effect here to see what this looks like. We'll have that, then we'll have that. It might not look good going light to light again. Whoop! Oh dear. Didn't realise that was going to be possible. Although I guess it makes sense. And then having the long grass come in now. This is the way I should have been doing it before, just flying in stripes, holding down the button. Okay, like it sort of just gives like a bit of gradient to it. You know, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Because that one takes a bit more to sort of get going. I'm wondering if I can do that with these. Is there value in that? I'm not sure that there is, because that's pretty thick, all of these. This gets thick, but not like immediately from the road. So I'm happier having something like this going on here for a bit. Whoa, that's just way too fast. To add a bit of time back on here. Okay, now, because I've closed the map, I'm going to have to just imagine what happens here. But I feel like this is all just short grass here. And maybe we even wait a little bit before we get into it. We sort of... terms of all this. A little bit at the back here. And then tall grass. Whoops. That's gonna happen. Okay. Feel like that's appropriate. Sort of thickens as it gets in there. Now this side, similar sort of thing. Similar sort of thing. And I guess if I was doing it around here, I'd be doing the same sort of thing as well. So maybe come from this side. That sort of thing. And then I can bring maybe that in. If it was silver, walking around with grass, yeah. If it was silver, it looked like the weird designs FPS games put on futuristic guns to make them stand out as futuristic, like a lightning gun. Yeah, looking at it in my hand like that. You're right. I hadn't noticed that for some reason. The items I hold are just not in my peripheral. Like, it's, just a Minecraft thing to sort of just tune out what you've got equipped in your hand, unless it is something funny to look at. I'm gonna do 2 layers of that, I think. At least there. And a bit there. The bush looks like a poor melee weapon. Indeed, indeed. Then we can go with the long stuff here. Okay, so that's kept that going there in an appropriate fashion. I will actually put a tiny bit of grass along here. Now we'll break that up every now and then with a bush. Oop. That's not what we wanted. Okay. Looking good. Same sort of thing needs to happen over this side, so with a little bit of symmetry. This is all just short grass here. Let's put a bit of light on the situation. It's getting a little bit dark in this corner here. Yes, good feeding. Keep all that going. Sort of like that for a bit. No, there's a bit of a corridor there. We do that bit in a sec. So I'm thinking this needs to have maybe a little bit of thickness to it. Kind of diagonal in there a little bit. Alright, and then we can do probably 2 layers of bush. There we go, yeah. Okay, and then the long grass. Okay, and then fill this out. This is I feel like this is not exactly accurate. Some of this has got a little bit of stuff in here. It starts to encroach from the back of the next suburb, and there are little windy trails and stuff in this bit here that you could definitely walk through, but you know, to keep emphasis on the main game here. Okay, that's good. And then for this side of things, leave it a similar kind of green corridor here. Yeah. We might leave a bit around the back of these places too. Up to that road though. Like that place is surrounded by stuff. Yep, so this bit going into its long grass sooner is fine for what we're doing here. That sun going down again. Feels like the day cycle runs quickly when you're having fun. And there's long periods of silence in the recording. Alright. Okay, and with that, I think all the grassy areas are done. Technically that should be fenced off over here. So I will do that. How far down does it run? Coming up here to about there. And we did have gates in these fenced off areas, didn't we? Yep. Every fenced off area has at least one gate, sometimes two. Yep, so... Yep. Which means this one needs... Oh, one there. One there. This one needs one here and one there. Okay. Let's empty some of that out of the inventory. And fly for a little look. Alright. Now we can try and write off the dark patches in that bit of bush there as just being part of the texture of the bush. Things like that. Yeah. That's now plausible under different circumstances. Okay. So, let's update the objective list. So we had, oh, there we go. We had that. Now we want something like, carve out the boundary of the residential islands. Because it's not really an island, but you know, that sort of thing. That's what we've got to do now. And so some of this we'll just do by hand, but much of this and of course we're gonna, as a result of this, we're gonna destroy all this water, aren't we? Am I going to have to fix a heap of water? I hope not. I am going to have to fix a heap of water. I mean, that's an easy fix. Okay. Yeah, the annoying part's going to be doing all this diagonally bit. That's hilarious. That might be problematic. I mean, I'm sure it will fix itself once the ocean connects. It's sort of not going to fix itself. Let's see if we can fix it with buckets. Otherwise, it's fill command. And it's going to be an absolute pain. Whoop. That's not what we want. Yeah, we're going to have problems. We are going to have major problems here. Let me deal with that, that naughty chatter that no one can see. Ban them. Water physics. Like, I can fix it for now by doing things like that. Yeah, fill with water can definitely override blocks. So, there to there. Oh. Well, here's an easy bit to fix. There to there. Okay. Fixed, except for this bit here. Right, we're going to have a problem if this is going to happen everywhere. What I'm going to need to do is fill from here, fill from that, back down to here with water. Okay, and do that in stripes. Make the other corner the far corner of the whole thing. Keep the same end coordinates and fill from... You're right, I can go to that corner there. I was just going to do in stripes, but that way I only have to change one end, not many ends. Okay. Let's check that. Let's check that, because that might be too many blocks. So fill that one down to here. With water. Okay, that works. So, I just got to think this through now. So, we're going one more on the X and one more negative in the Z. Right, so, we're going make that a 7 and make that a 3. Okay. But I'm going to have to copy paste after every one of them. So make that an 8, make that a 4. $19.5. 20 and 6. Oops. Pasted on top of it instead of copied on top of it. 20 and 6. Okay, that's going to be annoying, but it's definitely doable. Copy to clipboard the coordinates and the water tile name. Yeah, well yes, I'm doing all that. Copying that in each time, and yeah, bumping that up by 1, bumping that one more in the negative direction, copying it, and pasting it and changing it and copying it and pasting it. So I don't like that I hadn't thought of this, but all good, all good. 430. Forgot to copy it, so I have to go by 2. Excuse me. Okay, we're actually making headway. Like, we are getting there. It's going to be annoying, especially when we get to the shorter bit here. But let's go. I'm wondering if it would be any faster to put this in an Excel spreadsheet, generate these lines. Oh, forgot to paste, forgot to copy. Generate these lines and then just start copy pasting them all in. I mean, would the time saving that brings be worth it for how long it's going to take me to do these anyway? The answer is probably not, as I spend even more time weighing up the decision, because this is only going to work for so far and then I'm going to have to change angles and everything anyway. Oh, forgot to copy. Move it along 2 spots then. Nope, 9. Don't get that wrong, that could have been a disaster. 4 and 50. 45 and 51. 46 and 52. Let's adjust our position a bit. Coming up this way. It's just these two. I'm pointing with my arm. I don't know why I'm pointing with my real life arms. It's just this bit and the diagonal one up there that are equally going to be the pain of each other. But because everything else is straight edge, so it's not going to be as bad as it seems. But it's still gonna make me complain. Grumble, grumble. 49, 55. 50, 56, 51, 57, not 50t. 54 and 60. 55. Whoop, that was not right at all. 55. 61. 56, 62. I see Katooth saying something in the chat, but I'm just going to do these last couple of rows, and then I'm going to see what it is, because it's a comment about something that would have been easier. So, we'll see if it might be easier to have done this on the other side, because we've got another side in which we can try all this again. Oh, that was taking a screenshot apparently. Don't know why I decided to push F2 all of a sudden. Okay, would have almost been easier to fill down in Excel and copy each command in. Yeah, that's exactly what I suggested before. I'm thinking of doing that for the other side, seeing as though we won't have started yet, and we'll have to do it for the whole side and do it the same amount. So let's do the fill here, because we can just do the big rectangles now. So from that one, so fill that through to here. With water. I thought that was a horse, but it's clearly not. It's clearly a man. Are you a man or a horse? Will it let me do all of this? That is the question. It's long, but it's thin. So yep, it was only 2,000 blocks. Easy peasy. That of course goes up right to the edge now, which is a little bit weird. You guys are like practically swimming, which I'm not sure how I feel about, but it's just what it is. Same with this edge here. We can do down the bottom there. All the way up to here. Okay, so we're going to be moving this top corner down to this bottom corner each time. So let me brace the command and then get Excel going. So it's going to be fill from that square down to the bottom of this square. Okay, so that's the command. And this time as we move across, this first one is going to have to go from there to there. So we're both adding one to the X and adding one to the Z, which is great. Yes, okay. And we're going to do that a heap of times until we get all the way down to this set of coordinates right there. Okay, so open up Excel. Let's see what we've got. So this will just take a moment, guys. We've got this. We're going to have to do a bit of magic here. So let's split that by space. Split that text based on spaces. Yep. Then let's go equals that plus 1 as well equals that all the way along. Okay. And then let's join. Text join. With the space delimiter. All of those. Excuse me. Okay. And we do that all the way to, what are the coordinates I'm looking at? 194, and that should be minus 515. Oh, there are so many of these. (194 minus 515). Okay, for a whopping total of 54 commands. Okay, and if we just do these in sequence, let me just paste all of those in there. Okay, and we see what happens. So if I copy that, tab back over to Minecraft, take off the F3, add on a bit of day. Let's go up in the air, look to see what happens, and watch as the magic unfolds. Can't believe it's working. I can just copy paste straight from an Excel straight into the command line. It's perfect. $17 down, we're like a third of the way through. Just jittering a little bit as I have to change between controlling certain things and shifting certain things. Yes, it's the Alt tab that's throwing me. Everything's basically control except for the Alt tab. Ends in sight. Could almost do some of this by hand now, but we won't because we're just doing so good. Ah, would you look at that? Job done. I think that was quicker, but it's hard to say because It's a complete distribution of load differently. We spent longer getting that set up at the start, then it was quick to do the commands, whereas on the other one, there was no setup time, and all we had to do was just go through and edit each line for a few characters. So we definitely had to be more engaged throughout the process. We had to think about it harder. But great, look at that. That sort of shield, it's almost like a diamond. Like, you know, like the standard gemstone diamond sort of artwork. Maybe if it went like up a little bit more trapezium-y at the top or something. But yeah, look at that. That's a town. I'll tell you what are we at? 2.5 hours in. I don't want to finish right now. There's one more thing I want to do, but I would love to get the thumbnail of this. So I'm gonna take that off, and we're gonna aim for that thumbnail shot again. And I'm just guessing the orientation because I can't remember how far it tilts. That sort of thing like that. That's a good position. Right there. So let me do a little bit of that. And we're what, 2:36. Okay, remember that Sharky in a sec for when we finish the stream and I go looking for the thumbnail. It's 2 hours 36 in. Alright. Okay. Well, that's amazing. Residential area done. Let me bring the overlay back up. And go over to where my overlays are. So, primary objective, build a scale model of suburbia. 1 block equals 30 meters. Done. Mark it off. Second primary objective complete. However, there is a third and final primary objective. We have one more to do, and that's going to require us to do another little secondary thing first. So let's try. What am I? Okay, this is going to be the challenge. There's our task. We need to attempt to duplicate the hidden passage and tunnel. The one that we built over in Australia, down in Melbourne, that popped us down with the button and all the redstone that popped us down into the rainbow tunnel that took us into the nether, that took us back into the overworld again up here, that ran us through a cloud that dropped us down. We got to do that one more time, because we are ant-manning ourselves down in scale one more step again. So the easy thing is to just go and look at what we did for all the redstone and remember the magic triple piston stuff over there and bring it back over here. But what I think, and this may be biting off way more than we can possibly chew, what I think is we could copy paste some of the underground under the ground here, and it would be insane if we pulled this off correctly. So I want to go and find Australia again, and we're going to try perhaps our most ambitious copy paste yet. I know we've got the above ground bit over there, and we spoke about this last time after going through and meticulously attempting to rebuild this under the ground down here. You know, and things like that. We just went and built it by hand, but we could totally have copy pasted it. I'm going to try and learn from that lesson and attempt to copy paste the underground section itself. Yeah, I know, all my shopkeepers are going to suddenly fall out of their stores. I know, we're going to have to think real hard about where we put this and what parts of it we actually copy paste. Like, we're going to have to do some of this ourselves. So ideally we copy paste everything from the level 1 block below the ground. Is where we do this. And of course there's water and there's all sorts of stuff. So like it's way harder than it sounds. That means it'll have to go west again. Yeah, no, I know. We're gonna have to work some stuff out. So, and I'm very scared of doing this, like already. Oh, let's do that. Part of me doesn't want to get down there and do this. And copy paste from in here. Will it take us far enough from the existing portals? That's something we've got to figure out. Exactly, because that's its own problem. Part of me wants to copy paste the above ground one. Oh, there's fire over there. Naughty fire. Because I want to get down here and I want to bust into that and I want to copy paste the insides of it. The problem is the water that it like touches. Like, that observer is part of the design. And if I bust in here too much, like that's part of the design, that backs into water. So I bust those, water flies in. So I can't really break them. I can break the trapdoor and go in through the redstone path. You know? But I sort of need all this too. So I don't really want to bust any of that. So what I'm thinking is, unfortunately, I'm going to have to copy paste this above ground one and attempt to rebuild it down there somewhere. So copy and paste it into the air over the ocean, deal with the water, copy paste it back to ground. Then I can cut away the stuff. That's an idea. See, this is a lot of stuff that this is built with a lot of weird bits I don't want it built with. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do an under the ground copy paste up to above the ground. But I'm gonna get down inside of it to start with. So just have a little look. Okay. Beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted. Right. So I'm gonna want from this block in here from this block here okay, so we need that block in there up to a top right corner up here somewhere. I'd like to include this redstone. Doesn't matter if I don't have the buttons and stuff like that, that's fine, I can live with that. Okay, up to somewhere up here, like just enough so I can get this tunnel going. Probably just here, really, like just this block would do. Okay, and now we go above the ground and we put that somewhere. Put it on a pillar of grass blocks. We put it, well, maybe not here. Maybe Maybe we go over here, paste it actually at least semi near where we want it, then we can deal with it over there. Whew, nervous. I'm pretty sure we've got a good copy paste of it. I've got to remember which way it's going to go when I paste it down. Put it in Indonesia. I need to paste it in the northwestmost sort of part, like wherever I paste it, it's going to come back into the southeasterly direction from those paste coordinates, because that's how pasting works from memory. So if I just go like over here somewhere in the ocean, and I just stick a pillar like that, just a massive grass pillar here, and I just choose to paste it on this block here, it should appear over in this section here, heading back this way, sort of with the drop down here, sort of heading this way in kind of the orientation I'd like. I think. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Because I've got to do it in such a way that we don't lose a heap of stuff for all these people. Because if I go that way, I'm going to hit heaps of people again. Yeah. But then I've got to rotate stuff. I'd love to keep going this way, because then I can keep preserving orientation of everything. Because I can't rotate stuff with copy-paste. Yeah, exactly. Might need to go deeper. It's because it's going to run, if it goes in here and runs this way, it's going to run under these guys. And maybe even under that guy. So we'll deal with that in a sec. For now, let's paste it here and watch what happens. So in that block there, so clone it to there. Oh, it's not chunk loaded. Oh no. Of course. Oh no. Are we going to have to hop it along? How do you keep a chunk loaded? How do you... panicking. Load. Chunk. Lodestone? Is that a thing? Did lodestones keep things loaded? Lodestone. Why couldn't I spell that before? I know there are definitely ways to do it with like ender pearls and stuff like that. Yeah, or multiplayer. Ugh. I'm going to fly back here, and then I'm going to Google, do lodestones keep chunks loaded? Because if not, I'll have to just jerry-rig some sort of a chunk loader. So let me just go to Google. We don't need that. Remote chunk loading using lodestones. Right-click a lodestone compass, then the chunk where the lodestone is stored becomes loaded temporarily. 10 seconds. What? Excuse me. This would be very useful for many applications. Oh no, that's a suggestion. Oh, that's not real. That's... yeah. That's a suggestion. Oh dear. Yeah, lodestones should function as chunk loaders. Questions about chunk loading commands. Let's try that. If you wish to keep a chunk loaded, use the /force load command. Okay. Minecraft force load. What's the context of this? The syntax of this? Yes, I'm an adult. Da 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 da. Force load add from to forces the chunk at the from position through to the to if set in the dimensions of the command's execution to be loaded constantly. Sure. Yeah, by the time you get this working, you could have cloned a series of them across the expanse. No, that's it. That's absolutely true. Okay, so forces the chunk at the from position to the to position. Okay, so force load add, and then from, and then to. So, oh, we're back. Okay, question is, which is the one that puts the, is it, what's the one that does the F3 and G? That's it. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's all within a chunk. Perfect. So it's just this chunk that I want to keep loaded. So if I just talk about this square here. So force load add that chunk. Yeah. Yes, with that X and Z, we don't need a Y. Yeah, until I want to copy tunnels and stuff. Yeah. Exactly. But once I get a bit of the tunnel copied, I can copy and paste it from its current location, right? So force load add that. Marked chunk that in that to be force loaded. Okay. Let's turn this off and turn that off. So let's just cross our fingers. Get rid of this lodestone. Go all the way back up to the, I was going to say the mainland, but the other mainland. And attempt to paste now. I see this as a net win, even if it took longer, because we're learning commands. We're learning that it is possible to keep chunks loaded. Okay, so if we try and paste it here now, so clone that and that to that, it just works, and it's got water that comes with it. Amazing. And what's even more amazing is the water doesn't hit the redstone. We don't get the redstone staircase down this side, but that's fine. We can make that ourselves because we can see where it needs to plug into. I am going to need to get rid of the water here though. Okay. Alright. That's worked amazingly. So that, I should have checked, is that bedrock level? Like the level under that would have been bedrock. I should have broken one of those to check. But it would make sense. It would make sense. So I should do a little underground exploration just to confirm what I've got. So I've got one of these. I've got a second one. I've got a third one. I've got a fourth one. Oh wow, how far down does it go? I've got a fifth one. Then I've got bedrock. Okay. So just to confirm that again, if I got 5 blocks of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then bedrock. Yeah. That's good. I've made this pretty deep then. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the 5 layers of that, and bedrock is underneath. And that's why there was water here, because that's the first layer of water. And I've got 3 layers deep of water, like three squares deep of island here. So that's 1, and that's 2, and the layer above this is the grass, road, whatever layer on top. So in terms of like disruption, there is a layer on top of this, and this will only disrupt what might be right in front of it, and then it does actually go down enough that we've got like roads and things, and then we've got that. Can I put redstone on bedrock? Probably. Let's get some bedrock and find out. Watch this illegal gameplay. Placing bedrock. Yep, I totally can. So I could actually put this down on bedrock if I really wanted to. So if we're doing this at the church, we have a thing that would open, that would let us drop down and start heading over this way. It would only be these things immediately in the way, and then everything else under here is probably fine. So like, let me get my copy paste zones sort of correctly mapped out here. This is the hole I'm dropping down into, because that's the one that's being pushed by the pistons and things. So from my hole I need 2 left and 1 right, and from my hole I need to go 1, 2, I need to be able to go 4 back. So if this is my hole here, let's say, then I've got to go 4 back, and what did I say, 2 left and 1 right. Well, a second right, I guess, technically, because that's where buttons and redstone lines and stuff were. So yep, 2 left and 2 right. So he is standing on his brewing stand. So that would be, that brewing stand would be in the first layer of things here. So I'd have my hole, then under that, in that first layer of there, is the brewing stand. So that dirt block there would be the brewing stand. Alright. That would be that. Which has got some of this nice smooth slabby stuff under it. And all the yellow stuff here, that was because Melbourne But here, it should probably be this nice smooth slabby stuff, this nice white stuff. Ought to be the equivalent of what we're going through. So I ought to replace all of this. And what is this? This is smooth quartz slab. So let's just get the smooth quartz block. Be done with it. This has no texture orientation. Yeah, it's the same every which way. And I'm noticing too, it didn't copy paste the other wall on the other side, despite me looking up there. Because it must like paste in one block from where I look, which is a little bit disastrous. Okay. We'll deal with that in a moment. So then the actual pushing one. Excuse. That buried glowstone in there. Oh no, that's not buried. It is for light around the rest of here. Okay, so that seems to be what we're after. I should attempt to replicate the other side again. Wait, that has directional texture? Ooh. That's annoying. Okay. And of course these. Which I'm sure probably needs something on the back of them, doesn't it? If I place them like... come on. Like that. Nope. That doesn't do it. Nope. Is it the side? Do I need to place from the side? Yes, that's it. Okay. So it's from the side that I've got to build them up. Okay. Alright. I mean, that is just dirt, really. Because that's not visible to anything, so that's just as is. Alright. So that's the tunnel underway. I'm a little bit concerned about how that it currently appears. That should be pulled down one more, surely. I mean, this will probably be fixed as soon as I like activate it, but let me just think through observers. When I place you down like this, you'll be looking this way. So I want to do you one lower. Oh, come on. Gonna have to break this one, do something risky. Okay. I think that's what I want. I mean, that this is already in activated position now. So now when I land here, I just walk through and I'm in here. There's my step up and I'm in here, right? Okay, so we just need to get that hooked up to a above ground button now. So what I want to do is just copy a little section here. No, let's leave that there for now. I want to copy from here back to there. So let me clone from there back down to there. And where am I going to be putting this? Relative to the hole, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks up and 2 blocks across. So, relative to that hole there, it's 5 blocks up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 across. It's actually, it's right there. So if I paste there, perfect. That's the bit on the top. Alright, so there's where my villager is, in that bit there. Here's where my hole will be, right here. And it's got to be this sort of block, not that sort of block, in fact. Which actually means maybe it should be, instead of all this being white, maybe it should be this grey. But that would be a little bit scary. Although we can probably keep a bit of the illusion going with like that and that. So that's the road there. This can be white there for that. That has to be dirt because that's a path there. So that will always be dirt. And as we come down here, we're just in here now. Okay. So we would need the button over here, like what we had before with the other one. So traveling the redstone up along here. I don't like how these blocks are rotated. That's so scary. I mean, it's unavoidable. Basically, I'm choosing to avoid it, but I do not like that in the slightest. Is this like it is in the other one? Okay, there's a button here, and you can push another button over here. So the button would be here. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Stone button. Would be right there. So, fingers crossed. It's closed. That's not what I wanted to do. If I stand here, well, don't need to stand there. If I stand up here and push the button, it opens and lets me in. Perfect. And that means if I have button there, that's the one from inside. Yep, that sends me back up. Oh, I can't believe we've done it. Question is just what state we want to leave all the redstone in when we copy paste it. But I think that's a fine state like that. That is going to bump into these guys. That whole button system, but I reckon we can do without it. We can put the button in after the fact. That's easy enough. Because that's 1, 2, 3. That's 5 wide. With that in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so it does miss those. So all we've got to do now is copy this and dig down to that block there and do a paste. Okay, but what I'd love to do is give it a trial run. So I'm going to build another dirt pillar. Because I want to check that everything copies as intended and that the redstone doesn't get mangled and that we get the correct bounds on the copy paste. So I want to copy paste. We're gonna need this top surface as well for 3 more blocks back. So 3 more blocks back is 2 of them and then a row of tilde. Okay, and we can just put like regular dirt back in here again now, just so it's not hollow. Okay. Alright. I think that's fine. We won't copy that button. That button won't come across in the copy. But we'll copy up to this square here. So let's try the clone. So from this one here. So I'm worried that we're going to lose this right edge, which is why I'm doing this practice run. So from there to there and onto here. Okay, so there's the paste. No, we've got it all. We must have just looked at the wrong block when we did this the first time. We've even got the brewing stand. What's the state of the redstone? That block is actually in that position there. So, yep. So some of this is a bit manky. Those are both up and they should both be 1 block lower. Because some of the redstone components are not triggered quite the same. Those are both down there and that one's sitting up there. Those are both down there and that one's sitting up there. Question, if I place this here and press it, will that fix everything? Okay, so that did just close it. No, it doesn't fix everything. Push it again. No, and we've now properly balked it. Oh no, we haven't. It is doing a thing. Let me push it again and see what happens. Okay, so that is flush back at the top. But this observer should just be 1 block lower. So we need to trigger that piston without triggering like everything else. And or we just need to drop that observer ourselves. Okay, so that's both encouraging and not encouraging at the same time. Let me do the paste again. So I'll take the button off. If I paste it here again, that should have now replaced everything back in the position it would have been when I copied it, which has got that funny and that funny. So if I were to break that block, drop it down one, I would also need to break this observer so that observer needs to be down there. So I would put a button there, I would press it, no, that doesn't fix anything. It's going to be a little bit annoying. How would I do this? Because once I put this down there, I've got to do this from inside the thing. So let's do the paste again. So we've got the block there. Suppose that I'm inside of it. Yeah, so I like that state. So where everything's just down like that. Because I can break this. Break that. And necessarily break that in order to get in. Then we can try and fix it. So from within here, I need to get this sticky piston moved down. That's the weird bit. I would need to come in here. I'd need to move this sticky piston down to there. I need to get my observer, which I've already lost observers. I need to get my observer. I would need to be able to place it on this one here, like that. And then I would need to be able to put my these blocks back there and there. And it's open now. And it should just be working. So if I put the button there and press it, it closes. Push it again. It opens. Okay, so that's the repair job we have to do. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we can pull that off. And this will be our last thing. If we can pull this off, we'll call it now. So we have to get the coordinates of this point relative to where our hole is. So, whoops. This is 5 deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the one that's above bedrock. And all we've got to do is dig this hole down until we're standing on bedrock. And then go across our 2, then forwards 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's that 5th block there. Okay. Okay. So, moment of truth. So we just take this down to bedrock. So there's the bedrock there. Okay. Then we go across 2. And then we're going to go 5. So 1, 2. I'm going to need a light source in here. 2, 3, 4. And that's the 5th block. I believe that's the one I paste on. Let me just check. So if that's the one I would have paste on, 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So the 6th one is the one that's in line with the hole. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's check that. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is in line with the hole. Okay, I think we're looking at it. I think we're looking at the block we need. Now, the bit that's going to be weird is when I paste it down there, I'm going to be in it, so I'm going to have to go down there, get that coordinate, come back out, and then paste up here. So, paste to there. I'll take that torch out now. Alright, let's get this at daytime. Oh, look at that, and that suddenly everyone gets happy and does their things. Okay, if this is going to work, it's going to work. Let's just do the paste. If it works, we should notice no difference. In fact, the only thing we'll notice is that that brewing stand will briefly disappear and be replaced by a new brewing stand, which means this guy will probably lose his job, then instantly regain his job. So, or he'll fall through and die. So that will be the indication that this has worked. And there'll be maybe some slight changes if we look in this hole. So, let's do it. Alright, oops, bumping the mic, I'm that nervous. Okay. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I find that to be a very good sign. Okay. So, as we said, we're going to need to break that block and that block in order to get in here. We're going to need to break that piston and that observer so that we can put that piston back there and put an observer there and break that one. Then we're going to need to put our grey block there and our grey block back there, and we should be done. This should be it. Whoops. We ought to replace all of that with some nice wall to look at, which would be that. And then that one would be that. And then that would have a button on it. And then we would need the oak trapdoor. That's now on the incorrect side. That's going to be a nightmare. Okay, not as much a nightmare as I thought. That sends me back up. And that means that the button is there. Is it one more across again? It is one more across again. Okay. Okay. Yep. Perfect. We're in. Okay. Ooh. Okay, which means we get to destroy these structures now. Offshore wind farm. Okay, and we will destroy them in the best manner possible with a fill command. Fill from there up to there with air. That's it. Minecraft air, not cave air. Okay, don't understand why that didn't work. Oh, because they were at different heights. Oh, of course. Yeah, there was no guarantee that they were ever built at the same height. I never actually checked that. That's fine. We can smash the rest of them and then call it there. So that will be next time's job. We should probably hoover up some of these items that we've just littered with. Okay, toss a bunch of stuff. We can literally empty everything out of the inventory. With the exception of those lights up the top, those lamps, but we'll just get them again next time. Alright, take a moment to ban that funny chatter again. The one that's already hidden. Ban again. Okay. Let's end up in the clouds, where we can look down upon our creation. We probably can update that overlay, of course. Attempt to duplicate the hidden passage and tunnel. Well, that was attempt successful, I would say. Attempt thoroughly successful. So it's now a case of complete underground tunnel. Let's see, complete underground tunnel Mark II. Okay. Perfect. And with that, let's call it a wrap. That was a lot of good work. I can't imagine we're going to be able to pull 3 weeks in a row. Wouldn't that be something? So let's presume that it's going to be a little while before we get back here and celebrate that small victory. That we've actually gotten all of this residential area here done, all commercialized, all with some grassy features and various things like that. There's probably a lot of other random things I could put in there as other just markers and stuff throughout the town. But this is sufficient for now, I reckon. So, yep, I say we call it there and we get back to starting a new tunnel whenever that will be next time. So, with that, thank you everyone, as always, for tuning in. That was another stream to be Overthunk by Sharky. And I will catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.